The First Unicorn Snow, written by Kate Nichols. All content copyright 2022, Kate Nichols. All rights reserved. The pictures you find in this video were all taken at Hidden Pasture Unicorn Farm in Fountain Inn, South Carolina, and are copyright 2022, Kate Nichols. If you see pricing in this video, it is likely expired. Please contact the website for updated pricing. This has many stories in one, so you're going to have to listen to the series. Ultimately, this is a story about how reindeer came to fly, which started from the beginning with the very first unicorn snow. This story of the Christmas corn, a special and rare unicorn who is known to have given the gift of flight to Santa's reindeer, has been buried in generations, lapped over time and time again by ripples of history, settling it to the bottom of the forgotten fountain of Algorithma and into the black shadows of memories long left behind. Although forgotten by man and woman and child, there is still someone who remembers the ancient Christmas corn and who keeps their secret alive, who knows the truth, the real truth. Chinook, the dragon, who keeps the dictionary of magical unicorn abilities, of course remembers, but outside of the unicorn community, only one man knows, a man who wears the cloak of a red dragon with a hood spun from a unicorn's tail, a gift given to him by Chinook, a sacred cloak that allows him complete invisibility so he can steal through the night unseen, unheard, but leaves gifts behind to those with young and pure hearts. You may know him as Santa Claus. Before today's urban myths of jet engines and high-powered robotic reindeer that pull Santa's sleigh through the atmosphere at warp speeds, the truth was known to be that reindeer and Christmas spirit powered the tremendous sleigh through the night. Santa lives in the great north, blanketed in snow, where only sturdy livestock with split hooves reside. Heavy, but of a low stature, these creatures can sustain themselves on bark and twigs for 8 months out of the year. Reindeer are the hardiest of all the northern beasts, but reindeer are not able to fly. Magic Christmas corn makes them fly, right? But maybe we're just all spelling it wrong because it is true, but the root is wrong. To remember, we must go back to the very first unicorn snow. Christmas corns came about during the very first unicorn snow, which occurred during the Great Exile. The unicorn migration split into groups at the Tree of Dacia and began to make their ways to the different corners of the world. But a storm had collected over the Tree of Dacia and snow pounded down onto the unicorns for 6 months, preventing their departure. The unicorns believed they would all perish. The snow was trying to destroy them. It howled and the wind grabbed their legs, trying to pull them away from each other. The thousands of unicorns huddled together. There was but one unicorn on the outer edge facing the wind's stabbing blades. He held fast to block the angry wind and planted his hooves into the frozen ground to protect the others in the herd. As he stood as still as a statue, frozen in place, he grew in size, larger and larger and larger, until his head was above the wind and his horn turned from a bright white to a black crystal. His horn protected him from freezing completely by absorbing the bitter cold wind until it almost cracked. Suddenly, the snowstorm turned from angry and destructive to soft and encasing. Snowflakes drifted down onto the unicorns like feathers, each one sparkling bright gold like a ray of golden sunshine, popping once it landed down onto the unicorn's back. The weather suddenly quickly warmed, and all the snow turned into tiny warm crystals of light. The one unicorn, named Uno, was shining as bright as the sun and took up the whole sky. He began to shrink down, the warm wind drying off all the snowflakes, and everything shone bright gold. As Uno returned back to his normal size, the unicorns were all staring in disbelief at his crystal horn that was shining black but sparkled and glistened. He went to pull his feet, frozen into the thawing ground, up, and pulled and lunged hard until they popped out. He reared up and bucked in glee with a huge pow, suddenly burst into the air. His horn began giving off a blinding light. He was turning flips and flying and running and jumping through the air. The other unicorns couldn't believe what they were seeing. Uno was flying, but how? Uno had harnessed the snow with his horn. Through his concentration to protect the others, he absorbed the wind and cast it upward through his horn, turning it black. The snow was freed from the angry wind, and in turn had given him a special gift. It was a gift he didn't even realize he had sent out into the sky, that came back to him like a boomerang and filled his body with power. When he absorbed the wind, the snow, which by itself is simply soft and lovely, took the wind from Uno and rolled it up into a ball and returned it as a gift. When the wind rolled up inside of him, suddenly Uno was able to jet around like a cloud in the sky. His horn sparkled and shone, and Uno ran across the sky with powerful bursts. Nothing could stop him. Stay tuned again for the next chapter to learn how reindeer learn to fly. Thank you for listening to The First Unicorn Snow, written by Kate Nichols. We hope that you will click subscribe on our YouTube channel or come to visit Hidden Pasture Unicorn Farm in Fountain Inn, South Carolina. We have many stories and many unicorns, and they are all waiting to meet you. Thanks for listening. This Christmas story is dedicated to our friend Frank Hayes, who was the real Santa and will be missed. Rest in peace, Frank. Christmas is not the same without you.